The Leprechaun's Gold. The Leprechaun's Gold by Pamela Duncan Edwards. I spy something green. What are these called? What happens if you find a four-leaf clover? Long ago, before even your great-great-grandfather was born, there lived in a small village in Ireland a man known to all as Old Pat. Old Pat was a harpist, and a good one at that. Many a wedding was made the merrier by Old Pat's harp. He looks pretty nice. I spy something orange and fuzzy. See the cat. In the same village dwelled young Tom. Tom had learned his own harp playing from Pat's teaching, but now Tom thought himself a better harpist than Old Pat. He was much given to boasting and bragging and charging the villagers great amounts of silver for his skills. Old Pat was humble and willing to play his music for free for those he knew had not the means to pay. Foolish old man, scoffed young Tom. What use is a gift if not to make you rich? Old Pat replied, I am rich and friends, and that's enough. Who looks to be like an unhappy person? And who looks to be a pretty happy person? It is to be supposed that life would have continued along its way for Old Pat and young Tom had they not seen the announcement. What are they looking at? So this is how they used to have to make announcements instead of like social media and Facebook and things like that. They'd have to put up a big poster that would kind of tell people what the news was. By order of the king, harping contest to choose the finest harpist in Ireland at the royal palace. All may enter. Who thinks Old Pat's going to try out? Who thinks young Tom's going to try out? To be known as the best harpist in Ireland would be an honor indeed, said Old Pat. Don't waste your time, old man, sneered Tom. It's a young man like myself they'll be wanting. But Pat shook his head and gathered his few meager possessions for the journey. Aha, thought young Tom, if we travel together, he's sure to offer me a bite of his food. That would save me a penny or two. We call that when you're only thinking about yourself and you're not thinking about somebody else or anybody else? Selfish? Here's Old Pat getting all his stuff together. And so it was on this night the two sat together by their fire of twigs. They were footsore and weary from walking the many miles toward the royal palace. As he listened to Pat practicing for the contest, a sudden thought flashed through young Tom's mind. I could lose to this ridiculous old man. So, as Old Pat turned his head for a second, the wicked boy quickly snapped a string on Pat's harp and pushed his own spare string deep inside his bag. I'm sorry for your trouble, he said to Old Pat, but I have no string to lend you, for I might need it myself. Old Pat sighed. He had no money to buy a new string. The harping contest was as good as lost. Look at this look. Sneaky. Then suddenly, through the darkness, came a cry. Help! The two men shivered, for they knew tales of tricks played on poor travelers by villain leprechauns. Surely 'tis the little people that's after us, whispered young Tom. But as the voice rose to a wail, old Pat's kindness of heart proved stronger than his fear of leprechaun tricks. "We must find out who's in trouble," he cried to Tom. "Not I," declared young Tom. "I'll have nothing to do with it. I'll not take the risk of missing the contest." He turned his back to the voice and covered his ears. On shaking legs, old Pat walked toward the sound of the voice. That's Starkey. In a clearing, he saw a tiny man with his foot down a rabbit hole. "Help me, sir," cried the little man. "I took off my shoes to rest my feet, and a rabbit has taken hold of my big toe. Help me!" From deep in the burrow came the shrill laugh of the rabbit. "Let go, you rogue," the little man yelled down the hole. "I'll have you for dinner, you pesky bag of flea-ridden fur." It's got his foot. "I'll soon fix that scoundrel," thought old Pat. He bent down and barked piercingly as a fox might in the night. The rabbit let out a scream of fright, and out popped the little man's toe. I like this. Look at his little shoes. "Thank you," cried the leprechaun, for a leprechaun he was. "Come," said Pat, trying not to laugh, for a funnier sight he thought never to see. "I've not much to offer, but what I have you're welcome to share." What do you think Tom would have done if he'd been the one to rescue that leprechaun? Oh, that looks kind of like the cover picture, doesn't it? Yeah. Old Pat led the leprechaun back to the fire. "I see your fellow traveler has up and gone," said the leprechaun. "A brave fellow indeed he proved to be, but I thank you kindly for your help. I'd like to repay you." "I'll be needing no payment," answered old Pat. He picked up his harp and began to play a soft tune to soothe the little man. "You play well," said the leprechaun, "but I'm thinking your harp is not in a good way." "I have a broken string," answered old Pat sadly. "I'm on my way to the harping contest at the royal palace, but I'll not win now. I have no money to buy a new string." "Ah," declared the leprechaun sharply, "so it's the gold you'll be wanting." "No, indeed," cried old Pat, mighty alarmed. He knew terrible things happened to those who searched for crocks of leprechaun gold. But yes, I think it's so," answered the leprechaun firmly. So he's thinking he's after his money. Maybe that's why leprechauns pull such tricks. Everyone's always trying to take their money. Suddenly, old Pat's eyes would not stop from closing. With a sigh, he fell asleep. The leprechaun blew a silvery note on his whistle. Out of the forest came a band of little men, each carrying a bag. "He wants the gold," said the leprechaun as he told the tale of old Pat. "You know what to do." The little men nodded solemnly as they clicked open their bags. What's going to happen? When old Pat awakened the next morning, he looked around in fright. The leprechaun was gone. "It's a lucky escape I've had," cried old Pat, as he picked up his harp case and set off for the royal palace. Wonder what they did. That looks pretty, huh? But it looks like a long way to travel. There's the palace. As old Pat reached the courtyard, young Tom took the stage. Looking mighty pleased and confident, he began to play a sweet tune, but as if bewitched, the strings on his harp began to break. One by one, they twanged and twitched and twirled in the air until all lay dangling. Young Tom gazed at his harp in horror, but then he knew. "Leprechauns," he muttered as he hung his head and shuffled from the stage. So here's where he started to play. And then disaster. Now it was old Pat's turn. With sadness in his heart, the old man reached for his harp. Remember, he thinks that his harp is all messed up still. Then his eyes widened, for there, inside his bag, lay a glittering golden harp. "The leprechaun's gold," gasped old Pat. He lifted the golden harp and began to play. He played the merriest music ever heard, so wonderful that the wind itself stopped to listen. A wild tune it was, which filled the people's heart with joy and their lips with laughter. As the magic seized their feet, the people began to dance. Soon the courtyard was filled with a dancing, singing, laughing crowd. The other harpists knew now that this was Pat's day and danced along with the people. Even young Tom, who had learned a hard lesson, found generosity growing in his heart. I see Tom. And look, he's having a hard time not starting to smile and join in the party. When the final note faded away, the king rose from his throne and beckoned to Pat. You know what beckoned means? When somebody beckons, it's like, come here. They're telling you, come here. "Old man," said the king, "the prize is yours. Never have I heard such music. From now on, you will play always for me and my people. You are awarded the title Royal Harpist of Ireland." From the nearby forest came the tinkling sound of a little leprechaun laughing. Pretty neat. So, what do you think? We thought the leprechaun was going to pull a trick because he thought that Pat was being greedy. But we knew that old Pat isn't greedy and didn't expect much. And what action that old Pat did do you think made the leprechauns decide to be so kind to him? You think it's because he helped him out of the bind with the rabbit? I think so too. So I love this story because at the end, I used to go back through this with my students. There are 16 four-leaf clovers in this book. Can you find them all? So we're gonna go backwards and see if we can't find. I see one right there. And on this page, I'm not seeing any here. Anyone see one? Anyone see one on this page? I can't tell if you're shouting at my screen, but maybe right there. I'm looking on this page, and I don't think these count, but there's a whole bunch of them. They're not four-leaf clovers. These are three-leaf clovers. Don't see any here. Keep going backwards. Look, three-leaf, 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 and then look at this one. Four-leaf. And on this page, I'm looking at the people. I spy one right there. I'm not really keeping track, so I hope you are. Okay, I see so much green on this page, so this one's gonna be hard. I'm not sure if this one counts, but look. And there's not one in the other corners. So I'm thinking maybe that counts. This is kind of fun. Anyone see something here? I don't see anything on this page. I may be wrong. You'll have to tell me in the comments to make a comment. Okay. I spy in the bottom corner a 4-leaf clover. Point if you see it. Boop. Okay. I spy in the top corner 4-leaf clover. Don't see me in the dark, dark woods. I think this is one of my favorite pictures because they're just chilling in the woods, listening to music and enjoying a fire. But no 4-leaf clovers. You see one? Don't. There's some up there in the corner, but I just see. Oh no, that's a 4. Right there. See the tiny one? And on this page. Down there. Trickster Rabbit doesn't have one. I'm not seeing one on this page. How can that be? Am I missing it? I don't think so. Young Tom. Don't see one here either. We'll draw a page. It's here. Oh, here we go. 3, 3, 3, 3. But look over here. Look at this. You see it? 4-leaf clover. At first, maybe her head bonnet, but no, those are just kind of spots. Don't see one there. Oh, I love this one. This might be my favorite. Look in her hair. Ooh, this page has a whole border. I see 3s. Lots of 3s. Definitely a 4. And that might be it. And then the first page, back to the beginning. I think that counts as one. Let's see. Don't see any others. That's kind of fun. And then of course there's a bunch. So there we go, the Leprechaun's Gold. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll probably make another video. I used to make a little leprechaun with my students, and then we'd write stories of either how to catch a leprechaun, directions. That was super fun, and we'd follow them or read them aloud to each other, and it was kind of funny. Or a leprechaun story, or maybe the day you met a leprechaun. So there's all sorts of story ideas with leprechauns. And your leprechaun can be a tricky leprechaun, or it can be a super nice leprechaun, or maybe it's a leprechaun's directions on how to get to the gold. It's totally up to you, but the craft itself is a lot of fun, and it's following lots of steps and following directions, and then there's a lot of cutting and putting together, and so it's really good for taking up some time and creating something that you can be really original with. So I'll do that video a little bit later. Hope y'all are having a great day. Stay healthy, wash your hands, and look for a pot of gold.